So a few years ago, I had a client, a large pharmaceutical company, and they came to me with a plan. They wanted to automate portions of their financial close using AI. Now, they had already hired a large integration firm to do the work, and the firm told them they could use AI to do this. They were ready to write a check for over $1 million. Before they signed, they asked me what I thought. And I told them what they were trying to do was not possible. The data they were attempting to point the automation at was not only sitting in their SAP HANA system, but also in dozens of spreadsheets and different shadow databases. None of the data was normalized. I told them no matter how good the automation was, the moment someone added a new line item or renamed a GL account, the whole thing would break. But they wrote the check anyway. A year later, the integration firm came back to them and said, it can't be done. They had spent close to $1 million to learn what I had told them before they even started. And this is the conversation I want to have with you today. Because most executives I talk to right now are asking the same question. Can we use AI to produce our financial reports? Can we point an AI at our systems and have it reconcile our data? And the answer is no. But why? Because your data is not normalized. And you've probably heard this term thrown around, but no one ever gave you a clear picture on what this actually means. Today, I'm going to show you. If you look at this slide, this is what normalized data is supposed to look like. You have your internal systems on the left. You have your SaaS applications like CRM, like Salesforce, HRIS, like Workday, ERP, like SAP. You combine those two layers. They flow into a single data warehouse. And that warehouse is your single source of truth, your one source of truth. And then you run solutions like Power BI or Tableau against it to get your reports and your charts. And you could even run AI agents against this. In this picture, the question you keep asking me, can we use AI to produce our financial reports, has a yes answer. But here's the problem. Your company doesn't have this. Your company down the street doesn't have this. And in 30 years of running technology for global organizations and consulting for companies of every size, I have not found a single one that comes close to having this. Not one. This is what your environment actually looks like. You have your internal data. You have your SaaS applications. You may even have a data warehouse or two. And it probably holds maybe 75% of your structured data. The other 25% of what you're looking at on this slide, they're shadow spreadsheets, shadow databases, close adjustments, variance explanations, segment reconciliation, cost allocations, vendor exception handling. And that 25% is where the actual decisions get made. And every finance department I've ever worked with or consulted for, the controller has a spreadsheet on their desktop that reconcile what the ERP systems cannot. The FP&A teams have spreadsheets that produce the segment reports the board wants because the system cannot produce them the way the board wants to see them. Operations has spreadsheets for cost allocations that the system was never configured to handle. I'm going to say something now, and I want you to remember it. Really let it land. In 2026, the number one ERP system in the world is still Microsoft Excel. That's the truth. Every company you can name is running shadow Excel systems alongside whatever they paid millions of dollars to install. That is the data your AI agents would have to see to produce the answers you're asking about. And they can't see it. Now, if you take a look at this slide, it's similar to the first one, right? It's normalized data with AI agents. If you had this architecture on this slide, AI agents would work. You have the internal data plus SaaS applications combined into a normalized warehouse with AI agents running on top of it. And this is the picture that vendors are trying to sell you. Now, look at the bottom of this. And remember what I've said across all my briefings, that AI is nothing more than a marketing term. Now, here's the reality with the AI agents. This is what the AI agents face when you point them at the reality you actually have. They can't reach the shadow data. They can't reconcile what's in the controller spreadsheet. With what is in HANA, they will produce a fluent answer about margin or revenue, but the answer will be wrong, not because the model failed, because the whole truth was never in the system. So now let's talk about external LLMs, the ChatGPTs of the world, using their platforms externally. This is what you're really being sold on at the moment. But they have very, very limited connection points. Products like ChatGPT Enterprise, Copilot, Google Gemini for Business, etc. These vendors imply these platforms can see across your data. They can reach SharePoint to an extent. They can reach Salesforce to an extent. They can reach HANA to an extent through connectors. But they can't reach the controller spreadsheet on the desktop. They can't reach the shadow databases, sitting across the departments. They can't contact anything behind your firewall. And this is what the vendors don't tell you. They show you a demo where the model answers a question from SharePoint. And you assume it can answer every question from every system. It can't. So here is where this lands. The question your CIO needs to be able to answer is not whether AI works. The question is whether the data underneath it is normalized enough for the AI to produce an answer you can defend back to the source and to the board, not to the vendor, not to the CIO, to the source, the actual spreadsheet, the actual database, the actual line item that produced the number on the slide. The AI answer cannot be defended back to the source, then the executive who approved the deployment owns that gap. That's capital readiness. That's the test. You are paying for a multiple to get the same wrong answers that your BI tools they're already giving you faster, more confidently, with less friction maybe in the loop. AI is not going to tell you how to run your business. It doesn't reason. It doesn't think. It's input and output. And the data has to be right going in. And it has to have access to all of that data that's going in, or the answer is wrong coming out. So the question to ask before you approve another dollar of AI spend is this one. What business problem are we actually solving? And is the data underneath it ready for the answer to be defensible? The answer is not yes. You're not buying intelligence. You're buying speed on top of broken data.